everyone, happy Friday. Today we're going to meet in the studio because there have been quite a lot of questions about technical issues, repertoire issues. So once and for all, we're going to clarify the hip work supine on the spine corrector. Honestly, I think we've done it in different orders over the years. Maria correctly wrote that in the summit of, I believe it was 2013, we decided to start with the parallel positions, warming up the hip joint and then doing the big turnout positions. A couple of years later, we decided to switch it. Part of the reasoning was because on the Cadillac and on the F2 chair, we start with the externally rotated positions. We do the frog on the Cadillac, we do the frog, we do the down circles, we do the up circles, and then we move into the parallel positions. The same similarly on the F2 chair. So I decided this morning, after much thought, do we change it, do we not change it, who has been doing what? Let's keep it consistent with the Cadillac and the F2 chair. It'll be easiest to remember. So we are going to start now. If you've taught the course with the reverse order, meaning starting parallel and then going into external rotation, don't worry about it. The students that have got it like that will be fine. It's not a huge difference. When they come to workshops, when they see our new books, they will see it. Don't feel bad. Things change all the time. And that is the nature of BASI, is that we are always revising, we are always evaluating our work. So thank you to Latoya for coming in today. With no further ado, we are going to now demonstrate how we will do it. So we're starting with the turned out positions, as we do on the Cadillac, as we do on the F2 chair. So let's open out, and we close and come together. And open out, so we're doing the openings. She's got these nice long toes, long legs. You can see how as she comes to the center, she's in that perfect perpendicular position. And one more, Latoya. Perfect. And now we're going to the helicopter. So we're starting with that right leg going over her face, taking it all the way around, hitting that even V position, and then bringing it together. And I think you've got a little more range in you, Latoya. I think you're being a little conservative today. Take it out to that opening. Come to the scissors on the other side, and boom. And go. Third one. Oh, wait. Even V. That's the even V. And going around and around. Oh, Latoya, that wasn't as smooth as I like it. Let's take one more. There. You want to keep working it, working it, working it, working it. And then let's go the other direction. Now, work it, work it, work it, work it. You've got that range. And we want to be perpendicular when you meet. So again, the left goes over her face. Watch that you keep an even. You see what happens to Latoya at this point. Watch what happens to Latoya. Go back, Latoya. I'm rewinding. I'm rewinding. She starts really big. And then she comes here. She actually lifts her legs. And then she goes out again. No. We want to keep the feet on the same plane. Same plane. Same plane. You got to work it, Latoya. So open out. Now keep the feet on that same plane. Same plane. Same plane. So now what's happening, Latoya? You actually have to not go quite as wide when you go into your openings position. Because here you're a little restricted. Then as you go into the openings, you drop it, and then they lift again. Keep it, so this is your maximum, maximum. Now keep that height, keep that height, keep that height, keep that height, keep that height as you come around. You've got it here, and then close. And one more. go. Go to your maximum. Now keep that height. Keep that height to the feet. Keep that height to the feet. That was a good one. Okay. Now we go into parallel scissors. And reach, scissors.
Oh, sorry.
Not bicycle. That's okay. That's okay. Let's start always with your right leg.
Okay.
So we'll go pull, pull, and pull, pull, and pull, pull. Meeting in the center, and when she does that pull, the tendency is to do that. So you've got to think of that, and pull with the front leg. The back leg will, but what happened there? You didn't go back to the perpendicular. No, that's perpendicular. I know you feel, everyone feels this, that is perpendicular, but it's not. That is perpendicular to the floor. And go. Which side are we doing? Still not quite right. So I'm going to set her. So she's going pull, pull, slow to center, and pull, pull to center, and pull, pull to center, pull, pull. No. You wanting to do that, I want you to be there. Pull, pull, and center. And pull, pull, and center. And pull, stop there. When we look at this, Latoya, in the camera, and you'll see it, this leg is much higher than that one. So you need to lift this one a little. Your hamstrings are tight.
Yeah.
So you have to then not maximize your hip flexor, because that's going to take you there. You have to keep the pelvis stable and bring it more to this position, so that when, sorry, I almost fell there. When I'm looking at this, it's on one plane. There. Even V. Now go. And go. Boom. Better. And up. There you. There. And boom. Now you overdid it. There. And there. And pull. Pull. Okay. We are going to go from here into the bicycle. Over and bend and go. And tip. And tip. And tip. And tip. And tip, keeping the parallel. And tip. And tip. And reverse it. There. And there. And there. And there. Start bending this one sooner, getting a little mixed up. And there. And yes. 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 Not imperative to touch, but certainly legitimate to touch the barrel in the reverse direction. Same with on the mat. Not imperative in the reverse direction to touch, but certainly possible to, as you get better, if your hip flexors allow, the range of motion to tip the floor on the way back. Okay, so besides the cueing, everyone is clear. We do the two turned out positions first, the openings, helicopter, 3 to 5 in each direction, then parallel, like the mat work, scissors and bicycle reverse. Thank you, Latoya. If you could slowly slide off, I'll help you here. Perfect.
Okay.
This is a question from Inga. Inga, thank you always for asking great questions. It's about the side-lying gluteal series, or the gluteal series side-lying. The noun comes first, the adjective afterwards, so the gluteal series sideline. The first one is quite simple. It's exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, go. Latoya, there we go. Nice. She's perfectly aligned. 90 degrees in the knee, 90 degrees in the hip joint. Use the arm for support. Exhale, inhale, very important to keep the pelvis still and the space between the top of the pelvis and the lower ribs even on both sides. Latoya and I were just speaking about the tendency for the pelvis to tip, so I'll often put my hand here and my knee here to keep that pelvis stable. The second is down and back. So it's exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Now, that's how it is in the book. Inga was saying that the pictures show differently. They don't really, they just show the different positions. They're 4 pictures or 5 pictures, and they show the different positions. But it's a 2-breath cycle. Exhale and then inhale. Exhale. Now, Inga, it's possible to do it as a 4-breath cycle, and I'll sometimes do this. I'm just giving this as an add-on. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale. We want the exhale on the effort. Inhale and exhale. But going back to our books, I don't want to get this all confused. It's exhale, boom, and inhale. The last one, we said 5 little pulses to exhale, 5 to inhale. So shh, and inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, just like the 100 breathing, 2, 3, 4, 5. We use that 100 breathing quite often, and then Latoya takes it all the way back and relaxes. Bend the knee, and you can get a nice stretch. Do you feel it, Latoya?
I do.
Okay, she feels it. Inga, is that clear? Yes, it's clear, Inga. Exhale, da, da, and inhale. Exhale, da, da, and inhale. The next question is also from Inga. It's on the Cadillac. So we'll move over to the Cadillac. Inga asked about the push through sitting forward, the point where we extend the back, come back into flexion, and then take the arms up. So I'm going to go through the different stages. This is the setting that I would use, 2 springs on the top. A little bit heavy for Latoya. So on the BASI systems, what is so beautiful is we can still use 2 springs, but we can lighten it up. So I'm just lightening it up a little bit for Latoya. I think that's very, very kind for a Friday afternoon.
Thank you.
Very kind. I love Latoya. It's a Friday afternoon. We want to be nice to Latoya. Good. So the first thing we do, we've got those feet pushing up against the bars. We pull back in. Oh, no, Latoya. We first go into flexion. Just flexion. You want to get this flexion and push the feet up against there. Get that pelvis really under. I want to feel this solid. I want to feel those. That's the first stage. The second stage, while you hold this, is pushing those arms down. Keep the curve, keep the curve, keep the curve. Press the arms down to there when they can't go any further. So you want to feel these shoulder extensors. You push all the way through. Now you flatten that back on the inhale. Keep that neck long. From here, Inga, this is your question. You said, do we go into flexion and go forward a little? No. This is your maximum forward. The flexion pulls you back to that original position. You then, as a separate step, take the arms through and flatten up the back. It's all about differentiating between the trunk and the shoulders. The shoulders move separate to the trunk. So it's again, pulling in, get that flexion. She can't go, and you can really lean back into it, and then push through, and then go forward, flatten the back. And when you flatten the back, you don't have to go quite as low as Latoya's going. You want to be about that angle, so that when you then go back into the rounding, it's a very natural transition. Take the arms through, and then you lift up. One more, and exhale, and press the arms through, and inhale, and exhale. Yes, let's do one more. And it does feel a bit heavy for you still?
A little bit.
A little bit heavy. Let's go lighter for Latoya. I feel she's just struggling a little at the point where she has to push those arms through. Okay, let's go. So, she rounds up, pushes the arms through, and then dives forward with the body. You're still rounded here, Latoya. That's your exhale. Inhale, flatten the back. That's it. Exhale, pull in. That pulls her back. She's got this nice hollow here. Then the arms go through, and then lifting up to that perpendicular in-foot, that perpendicular position. Okay, Latoya, any questions from you?
No, that felt really good.
It felt good?
Yeah.
Felt good? Let's do one more. One more. I'm going to just show you a different way of giving someone tactile feedback. So she pulls back into my thighs. You feel those thighs against your back. Then she pushes down. She can really get that feeling. Goes to about there and then flattens there. Don't try go down to your legs. Then she pulls back into my thighs. She's got that support. The arms come through and then lifting up. Good. Thank you for your questions, Inga. I love them. We are going to go now over to the Wonder Chair because Berna has some questions. Berna, thank you for asking all those very, very beautiful, intelligent questions. Berna from Turkey, one of our new faculty in Turkey. We're going to go over to the Wonder Chair. So Berna asked a very good question. In the books as we have them today, if you could step aside for a moment, what we see is a middle range of motion. We're going from there to there to about there to about there. We want a much bigger range of motion. And the beautiful thing about this is that everyone will be in their exact place, correct placement when they start. So we're going to start with a straight leg. This leg is going out. So you have to come a bit closer. That's good. So we see that she is upright, standing over this leg, not leaning forward, and the top leg is straight. Now, I know it's not like this in your books right now, but we have taken all the pictures for the new books that will be ready. All of the new books on BASI systems equipment, the most recent variations of the exercises or versions of the exercises, and they will be ready. My commitment is that they will be ready before the summit or by the summit, on or before the summit of 2019. It's a huge amount of work. I can't even tell you how much work it is. So, your question though is, what do we teach right now? Because in the books right now, it's a smaller range of motion. So, what I suggest is, what do I suggest? What I suggest is that we start teaching like this. Start prepping yourselves and the students. Tell them the book's quite legitimate, makes it a little easier. In fact, I've got another solution. For now, this is exactly how you find the placement. Find the placement. You can still teach from your books. This is how you find the placement. She now bends the knee, and that is the first picture in your books. And then she goes to about there, the second picture or third picture in your books, comes up and goes to there. and bends, goes to there, bends, and goes to there. So we use the straight leg just to find the placement. So find the placement with the straight leg. Once you've got the placement, teach it the way it's in your books right now so that no one gets confused. However, Berna, we will move, once the new books are out, from a straight leg, bend, to a straight leg, bend. And you did it beautifully, Latoya. You almost shifted forward, but you caught yourself. From a straight leg to a straight leg, and she's really working hard. She right now is on 2-0, very kind for a Friday afternoon. Eventually we're going to go to 3-0. Remember, maintain plantar flexion throughout, palms facing down. That's how we will do it in the future, Berna. For now, present day, until the new books are out, this is how you find your placement. Once you've found your placement, you just work as it is in the book, where you don't completely straighten it at the top and you don't completely straighten it at the bottom. Just to there and just to there. Smaller range of motion. Range of motion makes the exercise more difficult as we go bigger. Good. Very nice, Latoya. Thank you. Bravo. We're moving to the reformer now.
You're on.
Berna, another great question. You asked, when we go into the rocking prep or rocking, do we think first of the hip extensors, first of the back extensors, or simultaneous, meaning together? The truth is, Berna, over the years I've changed the focus, but for the last significant number of years, I've said, initiate. You remember we learned in the course about initiate. It comes just before anything else happens. Initiate with the hip extensors, and then it's almost simultaneous, but give the hip extensors a moment to activate. Why? If people think immediately back extensor, they get their maximum height in the back, it's very hard afterwards to lift the legs. If you do it even together, we often don't use the hip extensors enough, and the hip extensors are so important here. The hip extensors and the knee extensors. The quads work a lot here. But the first thing we get are the hip extensors. She engages them, and then the back starts lifting, and then she starts straightening the legs, using the quads to get that beautiful height, and then we'll go down again. And just watching Latoya do it, by using those hip extensors momentarily before the back, it gives her an anchor. So this is all anchored, and she's got an anchor to then lift the back. I tried it with her before, lifting the back first. It didn't look as good. It didn't look as comfortable, and this just looks awesome. Keep those legs a little closer together. Yes, Latoya. And slowly we'll do one more, and we'll do a few rocks. So again, she gets the hip extensors, then the back follows, then the quads give her that height, and then the hip extensors here get that rock and rock and rock and rock and rock, and always nicer when someone rocks you, and slowly down. So watch those shoulders. She gets so high that the shoulders start elevating, so she just needs to watch those shoulders, and we'll just let her go into a rest position to relax the back. So Berna, again, initiate hip extensors, the back follows very soon after that, and then we start using the quads to straighten those legs. It's as if you're straightening them. Of course, by holding on, You can't straighten them, but what it does is it lifts the back nice and high, and then that first rock comes again from those hip extensors. They lift, you lift the toes towards the ceiling, and once you're moving, it's just the momentum that keeps you going. Great question, Berna. Thank you very much. And let's move on. Another question from Berna. In the hip work side lying series, is the leg in external rotation throughout? Yes, Berna. This leg, in fact, both legs are externally rotated throughout. So we've got down, and if possible, touching the mat, and touching the mat. I'm going to let go, Latoya. And touching the mat. She doesn't have to come too high, just to about 45 degrees. And a little higher than that. Touch my hand, and down, and down, and down, and. So Latoya doesn't have a lot of external rotation, so what happens, often this happens, is people start rolling back. You want to really keep that pelvis up, even if it means not getting the leg quite down, but you want to try and touch, and touch, and touch, and touch. The next one is the scissors. Again, external rotation. Connect those heels together, Latoya. So this leg now will be slightly off the mat, and go. First, other way. First forward and back, and forward and back, and forward. So we start with the top leg going forward, and that is so that we can end with the top leg back. There's reasons for that. And down, and back, and come together. Now put that lower leg down. And you just want to watch, Latoya, that you aren't losing your center. This core here is so important. And here, Berna, we take the leg forward. Keep the tension in that spring as we come around all the way down. Opposite that first position, we come into that first. Take the leg forward. Working that turnout, working that turnout, working the external rotation all the way in. That was nice, Latoya. And coming around. So yes, Berna, we're maximizing that external rotation. And let's reverse it. Oh, come to center. And she goes back. This is the hard part as you transition from back to front. But you never lose that external rotation. It looks as if the leg goes into parallel as it transitions from front to back or back to front. It doesn't. It's maximum external rotation throughout. That appears like that just because of the shape of the acetabulum. Okay, lovely. The shape of the socket of the head of the femur, the head, the hip joint, exactly how it fits into the socket causes that transition as you move from front to back and back to front, but you maximize the external rotation throughout. Okay, did we do all of them? Yes. Notice where I set it up. It's in the center, right there. For Latoya, I actually started a little higher. I felt it was a bit high for her, so I brought it down. That's about as low as you would get. I usually put it about 2/3 to 3/4 the way up. Okay, we're moving to the reformer. So Berna asked a great question here, and that is about the foot that's pushing. She asked, is that foot internally rotated, leg internally rotated, foot supinated, pronated? Actually, that foot's in a perfectly neutral position. What's happening here is that you're pushing out like that, Berna. In fact, the pelvis is square, but the leg is going out like that, and that's why we feel the glutes so much. You're doing hip abduction, but at the same time you're straightening that leg. So we want to get, if you put the foot like this on the carriage, then you would be in this supinated position. But sometimes it appears as if you're pronated, but you're not. The foot is actually absolutely neutral. It's as if you took that foot from the floor and just lifted it, and then we push out like that. And you're doing hip abduction. Yes, nice. And good. Try not to grip so much with those toes, and you could actually come a little further over. Try straightening the toes so they're nice and straight. Yes. You just don't want to grip. That's a good foot there. She's got a good foot position. Good foot position. Try even to pronate just slightly more. That's it. And push. And push, and you're feeling it. Yes. I can feel your glutes starting to shake a little. So remember, Banna, it's exactly like that. So if you're doing this karate kick, but the pelvis is square, and because the pelvis is square, you get this action of the hip going outwards. But that foot is in a neutral position, not pronated, not supinated, just neutral. It's a little deceiving when you look at it. People think that they're actually internally rotating their hip joint. You're not. That leg is absolutely going out straight, but there's a degree of hip abduction. That's what gets the glutes working. Okay, we're moving now into the climb a tree exercise. So, this exercise is often taught in slightly different ways, even amongst our faculty, and we want to get this really very clear. So Latoya could you start with your right leg? I always start with the right just for consistency.
Okay.
Otherwise I forget which side I started. Okay, so the important thing, I'm looking in a mirror down the studio there, and I can see she has to shift forward just a little. There's always a tendency to sit back a little. Remember, this first movement, all it is to get the back working, to get you sitting nice and upright, to give a little stretch for the hamstrings, and I think mainly of the back here. She now straightens the leg, and notice how her arms are straight. Now, Latoya can do it there. I may be a little bit further back. The main thing is the back is flat, the leg is flat, and she starts walking down. Yes, to there. We get that leg to 90 degrees. Now, take your reaching over and coming around. As she gets to there, she flattens out and then she bends. So it's exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale. Exhale, walk down the leg. Inhale. Exhale, walk up the leg. And inhale, flatten the back. And, oh, wait, Latoya, don't rush. Eyes forward, Latoya. A little lower on the horizon. Boom, boom, boom. And up. Walking down, and walking up, and reach. Yes. And she looked really good. I'm considering giving us consistent number of walks. I'm scared though that it will become too rigid. I've been thinking about that all day, Berna, as I've been thinking about answering your question. Let's do the other side. Let's think about it. What seems natural is to start walking down on the outside arm. That does seem natural. And that's exactly what Latoya did. I was watching her. So she goes 1, 2, 3, straighten the legs. And then she goes, oh, she did the inside arm. Clearly it wasn't outside or inside. She just always starts with the same side. So I'm going to say to us, let us start going down with the outside arm and up with the inside arm. Let's see how that works, Latoya. And around, inside, and up, and bend. Oh, Latoya, you rush. 1, 2, 3. Outside. Boom. 2, 3. Round. Inside. 1, 2, 3, and up. I like it. 3 walks. That's how many we have. 3 walks. We start with the outside arm. Did it feel comfortable coming up on the inside arm? That's what felt comfortable to me earlier in my workout today. I went through this to make sure we've got it all right. So it's 3 walks. Start going down on your outside arm. Come up on your inside arm. Starting with your inside arm. It all seemed clear. Beautiful execution, Latoya. Thank you so much for being my model today. I know it was a little tough for a Friday afternoon. Thank you, everyone. I hope you found this helpful and even enjoyable, and I'll see you soon.